So hello there, we are this week on our Easy Sew, we're going to make a summer dress. Now this is going to be the wraparound dress, so nice and simple. I'm going to use a t-shirt here just for the pattern, or if you have block patterns then you can use it. But all I really want from this t-shirt is just the top line here, so quite a simple thing. Let me get a fat marker pen so we can see. Now I need it to come down slightly more than the t-shirt, and then the back line, and then I'm going to mark it there, and then obviously the armholes, coming off the table, which I don't recommend, and down the side. So that's just the lines that I need from there. The rest we're going to take from measurements. So what you need to know, so if we can come round slightly, is how large you want it round the biggest bit. Sorry, there's no easy way to do this. And then we need to know that if we divide it into quarters, or we divide it into half, sorry, that it comes down just below the armpit to there, so that it's going to sweep round and cover. So let me just mark that. Of course, on your dress you can mark down the height that you want it to cross over. So just to there. You need it to there, so that's a good mark to know. Also, we need to know the widest part of your hips, because that's the measurement for the skirt, and we need to know how far it is to your waistline, so the narrowest part. So I can put that information on this. Okay, so we've got our measurements. The skirt, in fact, I lied just then. You don't need to know the waist, the hips. You need to know the hips from the point of your hip to this point of the hip, so that it is, so we can wrap it around, of course. Okay, so I've got the information I need. Now I've chosen a very, very light summer cloth, and it probably is just a bit too see-through. So I'm either having, well, I'll probably have to wear a slip underneath. But for this demonstration, it'll be ideal. So I've got this folded in two because I need to transfer the measurements of the top. There we go. I'll just grab a weight. Yeah, weight's quite handy. I need this bit of paper. Sorry, I'm gargling again, really. And I need two bits that are opposite to come down from that angle straight down, and I need an extra 2 inches on the pattern. So I can do this either with pins, or I can do this either with just a weight. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to get on. Anyway, I have the basic front panel shape, so I'm going to get rid of these two. I'm going to put them somewhere safe so I know where they are. And then the next panel we need is the back panel. So we have the same pattern here, and we need to make a double of that one. So that's quite easy. We get our material, and I'm careful to try and make use of the most of this, because I've got slightly more than I need. Sure that I've just got 2 layers of this, and I'm going to line up this line with the fold. Now I did give myself a hem allowance of a good inch, which is probably more than I need. So I can just cut around this pattern. Obviously I'm going to be very, very careful because it's slippery stuff. Not too slippery, but I don't want to pull it out of shape by cutting and then cut it wrong. So, you know. But you can do it, you can judge it yourself. If you're happy on making a complete pattern, then do, and then you can pin it and everything. But for time, I am just going to do this. Lovely, so I've got the last bit here. And that is basically the basic shape. You know, we have a back panel that's very similar to a t-shirt panel, and we have two front panels that cross over the front. We also need to make a strip of fabric, and then we need to make the skirt. So actually we need to make two strips of fabric. So now we decided that the skirt needed to be from one hip to the other, which is great. So we've got the crossover bit, and then all the waist will be picked up in a little bit of gather. So that's all good news. Yes, okay, not only is it a good idea to use a pins maybe, but maybe a bigger table. So let me grab those so that I've got that there. And then I've got it nice and weighted, because the weight of the other bits of material is actually pulling it down. Now this is on the fold again, and I can see that I need, oh, I so nearly guessed that right, but I didn't, so I'm just going to have to move it along a bit, which is fine. It's because I'm so used to cutting my size that I've got quite a good idea of what my size is before I even start to cut it. Now, also you need to know how long you want your skirt. So I'm going for just below the knee as well. And then that's the simple matter of just below the knee as well. Now the strips I need to cut, and then I have everything I need. So I'm just going to cut out, this is a simple rectangle, and then two simple rectangles for the straps. Oh, well, I'm really losing the plot, aren't I? So I've cut out my large rectangle, and I've cut out my straps, which are straps around the waist rather than straps around the shoulders. And now, sleeves are optional. You can have it as a non-sleeve dress, or you can have it as like little tucker sleeves like on this t-shirt, or we might as well make normal. I'm going to go with 3/4 length sleeves. I think full length sleeves will be a bit silly, but yeah, it's entirely up to you. So I've taken the point of the top of the sleeve on the t-shirt and the bottom of the sleeve on the t-shirt, and now I need to draw a line curving the two. Now I can either follow it round, fold it over carefully, or however I want to do it. And then it's a matter of taking the sleeve as far as you want to go. Now there is a mathematical equation, and it is quite complicated. So what I'm going to suggest is that we've drawn around the sleeve, but I'm going to give it an extra hem allowance of a little bit, and then I'm going to follow the curve, and then if there is any excess, I want it to be taken up at the top. So I'm going to cut a little peg just before the top, so that any gather I will put in between the two pegs. Now I've got this on 4-fold, so I should have 2 matching sleeves, and yes. And there we go. I'm just literally, I can choose the length I want, or I can use a tape measure and tape measure the length I want. I do need this straight though, so, which I've done very badly. And then it's a matter of following this, but remembering to cut in those little pegs. Now using weights is just sheer laziness, okay? Don't think it's anything else. It does work for me, but you do have to watch your cloth all the time, and you do have to sort of be aware that you're cutting all 4 layers of cloth. And that just comes with time and experience and practice. So you have got a bit of a catch-22 whether you start using weights from pins or you don't. Now if it's a matter of if it takes too long and you don't sew, then it's best to use weights. But then if you find that you're wasting material, then you've really got to do pins. So yes, and the fabric helps. If you're doing a nice thick fabric with lots and lots of grip, then makes life an awful lot easier. Now I've got my machine set up here. I can come over a bit. Yeah, that's nice. I've got my machine set up here. Now I've got it on quite a large top stitch and quite a small lower stitch. This is because if I had a tighter top stitch, it would naturally gather the material. So, and I don't want that. Don't want that at all. So here we go. It's a good idea to have a little practice sew before you even attempt to sew a cloth that you're not used to. I have, and I'm probably, yeah, it's still in the top of my bin. Here you go. Done a couple of practice stitches, so you know, don't think that that's not anything unusual. So as new fabric, machine that I don't know that well, I am going to do the simplest bits to replace first. Now I did bring out, put that over my dent, a piece of string. Now this is just another lazy bit. What I'm going to do is I need to turn these straps inside out. I'm going to sew in a piece of string so that it's got something to hold on to. So lovely. And then I'll trim this, once it's inside out, I'll trim the string away. Now whilst I'm learning to sew this fabric, I'm just running literally in a straight line. These are for the ribbons. So the ribbons at the back. Lovely. And you can see that even though I've got it on this longer stitch to avoid a gather, it still is gathering slightly. So what I can do is I can just hold it, and that will make it not gather at all. Now I suppose if we had all the money in the world, we could buy a machine that could take a walker foot, and that would work better for this type of fabric. But where would you put it? You know, it's not just the money of buying a machine, it's how many machines do you need? So here we go, I'm just coming to the end, and then I will show you it turning inside out. So if we just fold it over slightly just to get it started, and then we can pull it and roll it at the same time. So yeah, it's not my favourite thing in the world, turning something inside out. I know people do it all the time. Why am I worried? But I just find it a bit tricky. Now if it does look puckered, what we can do is we can literally just re-sew a top seam over the top. Now I've lost my bit of string, so which is my own fault. It's because I'm talking, I suppose. Now I do have a blunt pair of paper scissors, which I find quite good for this, or you can use a pencil or a paintbrush or even a knitting needle if you own such a thing. And which I do, don't get me wrong. Yes. In fact, I own a knitting machine, but I don't know how it works. So yeah, we just have to literally fiddle that through. I can come back to that, and then we can start on that on the next bit. So let's start with the main body of the dress. Now I have the back here. Yeah, I have the back here, sorry. And I need one of the fronts. Which is that way round. And I need to sew up the side seam. Ooh. So let's lay that down there. Now this is the neckline at the back, and then I just need to get this lined up, and it is actually suggesting to me that it would be easier to do the top seam. And then all I need to do, once I've got it lined up, is run a seam along this edge, making sure that I've got both bits of fabric, and sometimes it's better if we keep the back bits showing through. And if you can, reverse stitch. And again, if it is puckering, sometimes a fresh needle helps, and sometimes a little bit of oil can stop the machine if it's sewn really badly. And then I need to sew the shoulder together. So again, take your time, line it up, and then it literally is quite a simple little seam. Now I haven't cut my thread in between sewing, but I've made sure that I have enough thread so that it doesn't pull. But this machine's terrible for actually sort of grabbing it and pulling out the needle thread, and then I have to stop the film because I can't thread a needle when it's filming. Okay, so that's my skirt, and there is my sleeve with my two dimply bits. Now I want to do the sleeve seam next because I want to put one sleeve in, and then I'm going to literally catch up on my sewing again and then switch the camera on. So all I'm doing is running along the seam at the bottom here, and I'm holding it so it doesn't pucker. When I'm putting it away, also I'm making sure I'm holding the thread. So I'm just going to grab the other dress, and I'm going to turn my sleeve inside out so that the right sides are together, and I'm going to place the bottom of the sleeve seam inside the body of the dress, and I'm going to keep the body of the dress inside out. This is so that I've got both seams, I've got both the right sides together. Now I'm going to place it into the machine, and now I'm going to adjust it, but I'm going to use the machine as a third hand. So I've literally got both the bottom seam and so the side seam of the dress, and then the bottom seam of the sleeve. Okay, so we'll just get this started. Obviously I've made a terrible floor if I've got the old thread caught around the foot, so just going to wiggle that round. Now what I need to do is I need to get to the point where my marker is. And then I need to adjust the excess amount of fabric into the sleeve. Now if I've made the sleeve too small, there's nothing I can do. So I've deliberately made it too big. Now what I'm doing now is I'm pushing the excess fabric into the teeth of the machine. So it's just pulling the bottom along at a regular speed, but I'm using, literally, I'm forcing excess fabric through. So I've now gone over the top seam, and I need to line this up so that I then get my excess all in there. And then when I've done that, I can just pull it taut, and then I can whiz down to the bottom of the sleeve. But the idea of using those little dog teeth is so that you don't have all the pucker saying in your armpit, because that would be terrible. But then if you have a tiny amount of pucker in the top of it, then you can just, well, I designed it like that. So. Okay, so that's that done. And the other side is identical, except for it is the other side. And you can see that I've taken quite a lot of gather up there, but the bottom of the sleeve is ungathered. So, okay. So this is ungathered and this is the gathered. Now, I need to sew on the other sleeve. I need to sort out these, so we can either do a top seam, and then I need to attach the skirt to the body, which is quite a long way away at the moment. So I'm going to stop the camera again, because I don't want the film to be too long. So hello there. Okay, well, we have finished the dress. Oh, I've got terrible hair today. It's been raining all day here, and I am not quite completely in the frizz, but I am very frizzy. So yes, bad hair, but that's not relevant. So there we go. We've got a wraparound dress, bang on fashion, probably a bit see-through, but irrelevant. Alright, thank you ever so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, and hopefully I'll catch you again soon.